Yeah.
All right, and we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superherocuts podcast where we talk all things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Jerry, my dog. How are you, dog?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yo, it's been an eventful weekend. Um, Reviewers have been cooked after
Yeah.
this weekend. We have a lot to talk about with Captain America: Brave New World because, man, we texted all weekend about it. I saw it 3 times, you saw it once, but we have
I need to go
said,
back. I was
yeah, bro.
thinking I want to wait for it. Like I always do that. I see a movie and I like to go to the Dolby Theater only, and it's a little bit of a drive. So it's annoying. I think I'm going to go again this week, and I really want to see it again, and I don't want to wait for Disney Plus.
Yeah, bro. It gets better every watch, bro. It really does. It really and like a lot of movies don't, because like with like some movies it's like the same, I guess, like level of, I don't know how to explain it, but like Brave New World really got better every single time. Like the last time I saw it with and my dad, bro, he loved it. I mean, he was locked in. And the final battle, he was just like,
bro, that was for all the shit people were talking about. Oh, how's he gonna fight Red Hulk? He did a fucking good job. That scene was sick.
Sorry, bro. Something dropped in my house. My bad.
No worries.
Sorry, bro. She dropped freaking potatoes. My bad. So where's him?
So first of all, I saw a number of people say it gets better every time you see it. Number one, you're not the only person I've heard say. I've seen multiple people say that. And for all the shit people were talking about, Sam Wilson fighting the Red Hulk, like they did a great job with it. That scene was awesome. And it showed Sam as someone who fights with strategy, which obviously, is a big part of being Captain America without the serum. And I think they did a really good job of, building him up. And like, I think people were unfair about that because we have watched Batman take on all these kinds of villains, and Batman has no superpowers, and it's never been a problem. So like, all of a sudden, Captain America, Sam Wilson, it's a problem. I don't know. That seems forced to me. And listen, I need to see it again because when the reviews come out and they're all over the place, I go into the movie just hoping for it to be good. Like I texted you when I was sat down, I was like, thoughts. And I was just like, is this movie good or not? And then I enjoy it. And I was like, damn. But now I need to go back and like watch it again and put more thought into it. But yeah, hey, Corrosive, welcome to the chat. Definitely worth a watch. I think that you'll struggle to say it's not a decent movie. It's a good movie. Yeah. I think some people thought it was amazing. I thought it was good. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's a good MCU movie. And I think I'm pretty fair. Like I always stand on my own opinion. I said that I'll say every time I like Captain and Ant-Man and Quantumania, and a lot of people had a problem with that movie. I didn't like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I didn't like the Marvels. What's the other Marvel movie that I'm thinking of that everyone hated on that I liked?
The Eternals.
The Eternals. That yes, exactly. So I think Phase 4 has been, Also, I don't like when people are saying, there's like, you need to stop expecting Endgame quality, which, yeah, if you're expecting like an Endgame type movie from a Captain America movie, like that's crazy. But we've had some pretty amazing Captain America movies, and I don't think it's fair to tell fans to lower their expectations. But I do see some people with crazy expectations at the same time. So I think that could go both ways. There's another thing that I saw where people were like, well, Endgame had like 5 years of buildup. And it's like, well, Endgame was 6 years ago. So, where are we going with the current MCU? But I do think this movie was good. I thought the post-credit scene was great. And I was glad they put that in there, teasing the incursions. There's a theory about the Raft that has been floating around that I want to talk about. I don't like that people are kind of positioning themselves as like genius for this theory. It's pretty obvious if you've ever read the comics. Yeah, Stevie, you already know, because I know you're a big fan of the Hickman saga as well as I am. But back to Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson, like, it's crazy because Sam Wilson has been an amazing character since he debuted in Captain America: Winter Soldier. He was awesome in that. He's been awesome in this Ant-Man scene in Ant-Man 1. He's been great in every movie, and he's been a part of what a lot of people would say are the best MCU movies of all time, which are Winter Soldier and Civil War. And, it wasn't until they made him Captain America that anyone ever had a problem with. And I think that's unfair. And it's just unfair. It's ridiculous. They didn't make this movie political propaganda like they did with his, monologue at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There was none of that. Someone tried to argue with me about it on Threads. They were like, well, it had the American government and the government was corrupt. Like, there were a lot of things. It's a political thriller. So, like, obviously government's going to be involved, but none of that was designed to try to sway anyone's political opinions, which is the definition of propaganda. And the guy I was arguing with refused to understand that. But none of it was propaganda. It was a good movie. And I think a lot of people were just unfair to this movie before it came out. And I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's funny because you and I were kind of sifting, as we always do every time. We send each other reviews and we're like, that's weird. And this time you and I were both like, we got to see it for ourselves because, and I'm not saying that the reviews always sway us, but usually when people say that, you start to understand what the tone of the film is. And it's rare that, like, because you guys have to understand, right? There's like, it's like levels, right? There are the reviewers and then there's us. We're like right under them. You know what I mean? So it's rare that we don't agree with the mass, number of reviewers.
Anyone.
No. I'm just saying, like, people who like see it first. I'm saying, like,
okay.
I'm saying like they're the ones that see it first, and then there's a content guys like us who watch it, and then we have an opinion. And like lately, it's been on point because a lot of projects have been bad, like Madam Web, Venom wasn't the best, Craven. So like, I mean, we were reading the reviews, we're like, you know what, like, we're not going to see that. But with this one, we were just like, it just doesn't make sense, and it's kind of weird. And the biggest content guy that kind of made everything go viral was Soups. Because Soups, everyone calls Soups a MCU shill, which is funny. But basically, Soups was like, this is trash. Like, I hate this movie. Well, no, I hate movies, like, it's trash. It's not good. And so, but, Jay and I were just like, we're just going to wait to see it ourselves. And we both walked out of that theater saying.
When he posted that, sorry, I just want to, this important context. He posted that, like, Wednesday night. So everyone else, it's like, you weren't able to see the movie until Thursday at earliest. Yeah. So when Soups posted that on Wednesday, it was a big deal.
Exactly. And when we both walked out, we were just like, the movie's not even bad. What are people talking about? And now we are seeing something, and I'm actually proud of our fandom, bro, because a lot of people that liked it weren't afraid to voice that they liked it. And I think that was good for the MCU. Like, I think Marvel Studios needed that, bro. Because the one thing that you and I talk about, right, is that when good content is good, we have to be loud about it so they know that this is what their fans like. And as much as there's obviously like fans that are negative about it, I do think there have been a lot of positive fans. And the main caption that I've been seeing is, I didn't listen to the reviewers and I watched it for myself. And that, bro, had me proud, because that's what me and you live by. It's like, we don't go off what people say, we watch ourselves. Now, the only person I will say that is you. You're the only person where if you told me something's bad, like, I wouldn't go.
Yeah, same here.
Yes, yeah, like same thing with like Madam Web. I was like, bro, don't even go. You were like, yeah, I wasn't going to go anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and like, you're the only person on this planet that I would do that for, because you and I have the same taste. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In films. But other than that, like no one else I would do that, bro. But let's get to the film, bro. This movie was great from the start. I loved the intro when he's just flying through the sky and comes shooting down. And the fight scenes were amazing. And I love the shield throws. And the fight choreography was very creative with the way that they used Sam's wings and the shield. Then that's something that I was really excited to see. Something that this movie also does is Sam has so many tools in his belt, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like versus where like in when you're watching the old films, like he doesn't have that much screen time because he's a side character, so you're not really able to see what he's able to do. So it was kind of fun seeing him kind of be the main guy with, you know, the shield, and we get a whole movie with those shield throws and stuff. How did you like Falcon?
I thought he was great, and I wasn't sure how I was going to enjoy his character because we haven't seen him that much. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I only watched once. I love the opening action scene. People forget how good that scene was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I almost think it did the side note. I almost think it did, and I'm not going to go on a tangent, but I almost think that scene did the show a disservice because it came out so fire and it set the bar so high, and the rest of the show just didn't live up to it. I do think that show is underrated, but I hate it for the political propaganda that it was. Not just the Sam Wilson dialogue, but the like empathizing with terrorists, I have a real problem with. Other than that, though, you know, I thought Joaquin Torres was a phenomenal character. His chemistry with Sam was awesome. I want to see more of him. He was great. That actor, amazing. They both had the like perfect charisma and charm for the movie. And on that note, you know, I saw someone say like, yeah, Sam Wilson didn't really hold his own in the movie. And, you know, that's like a problem with post Endgame is that characters aren't holding. Bro, you could say Iron Man 3. People didn't think Iron Man held his own for the whole movie. You could say that about Thor: The Dark World. A lot of people thought that. I disagree. I love Thor: The Dark World. I know you do too. I prefer the first Thor to the first two Thor movies to this third and the fourth. I think the third and the fourth are both an abomination to the character. And whatever. But you know, my point is like when people say things like that, it's obvious that they're not being fair. It's obvious that people who say Sam Wilson is not Captain America, like, you know, there's a kid that I agreed with a lot of the things he said on Threads. And a couple months ago, we got into it, and I left him speechless after the debate about Sam Wilson being Captain America because I thought he was really being unfair, like actually racist. Anyway, you know, he like threw a temper tantrum at me over this, and he was like, "You're throwing like, bro, you literally tagged me in like 10, 20 posts this morning about it, and you're like going off. It's crazy." So anyway, he ended up blocking me, whatever. But my point is, I don't think people are being fair. I do think that you don't have to like this movie. Like you could watch it and say you don't like it. I'm just saying some of the people that I'm seeing make those arguments seem insincere, unfair, and in a gross way, really biased against a black person being Captain America.
Exactly.
And that's not cool. And I think that people were kind of pushing that for a while. I saw this movie. I'm honest about how I feel about movies. I like The Flash. I know Stevie, we saw it together. You know, I think that if you go into, and I said the same thing about Ant-Man 3. I said, if you just like forget about what anyone else said and you watch that movie, I think, and you're honest with yourself, you could admit that is a good movie. I'm not going to say it's amazing. I'm not going to say it's one of the best MCU movies, but I do think you could say that about this movie. And I think it's better than Ant-Man Quantumania. I do think this was a good movie. Like, I thought 100%. Ant-Man was a good movie, but this was a better movie than Ant-Man Quantumania. The specifics about why I liked it. I like Sam Wilson a lot as a character, but I also thought the plot was really good. There was something, you know, the dynamic about the government focused on getting exclusive control on the adamantium the backstory with Isaiah being set up.
That was fire.
That was kind of a spoiler, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. My bad.
Spoiler alert. And then there was which my favorite part of the movie was the leader and Red Hulk. Like, that was crazy. And I think that they did themselves a disservice in terms of the reception of the movie by letting everyone know Red Hulk is in this movie, because everyone knew Red Hulk was coming at the end. However, I understand that they wanted to sell tickets and Red Hulk was going to sell tickets. But I thought that was awesome too. And I liked Sabra. I thought she was good. I see a lot of people are like, oh, they could have just taken her out of the movie.
Yo, my dad loved her, bro. My dad said my dad thought she was awesome.
She was cool. I think that's like the politically correct way of, being unfair because she's Israeli and Jewish and all that. And listen, Stevie and I are not like, what's the word I'm trying to use instead of the word that everyone on a certain side of the aisle, whatever. We're not like progressive and annoying or anything like that. Yeah. But we're going to call a spade at the same time. Anyway, listen, I do think this movie was a good movie. I think you should do yourself a favor and see it. So the other thing that the same person who, blew up my mentions and ended up blocking me in a fit of rage, he's probably watching right now and throwing a fit right now. Anyway, what was I just going to say? He said is, one of the posts that I said that really set him off was, this movie has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes on audience score. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good audience score. Now, the critic score was low. At the time, I think it was at 48%. I said that the critic score is bullshit, and it's always bullshit. And I always say that. I think critics are unfair and they always have been. There are a lot of movies that when they don't have the politics that match, or they have politics that are adversarial or of the other side than the politics of critics. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know this, most critics, they lean very specifically in one direction. Anyway, there's a lot of movies that come out, and like Sound of Freedom, for example. Sound of Freedom was a movie by a guy, I think his name's Jim Caviezel or something like that. And it was about the sex trafficking in the United States and how big of a problem it is. It wasn't a documentary. It was a movie. Obviously, I don't think they have a problem with highlighting the problem of sex trafficking in America, but the guy that made the movie was a conservative, and they treated it unfairly, and they gave it a low score, and the audience score was super high. And I've seen that happen time and time again. It's been happening with Marvel since really after Endgame, and I don't think that the critics are fair. I also don't think they look at movies the same way we do as fans, especially as comic book movie fans. So I made a point, I forget exactly what I said, but the audience score always holds more weight to me than the critic score will, because I identify more with the audience. I know the critics are full of crap. Same way I know the mainstream media in this country is full of crap. The same way I think the Grammys are fake. The same way I think the Oscars are fake. So, I think the audience score means a lot more than the critic score. And there's always a gap lately. It's like almost always there's a gap. If a movie or a show fits their agenda, they love it. If it doesn't, they hate it. This is a little different. And maybe, who knows? Maybe if they did make the movie political propaganda, the critics would have been nicer to it.
And also, because I took a journalist class, and that was my major in school for college, right? And the one thing that they said is that when you are reviewing something, you're trying to take the biggest thing and push that. And I think that a lot of these reviewers that are journalists and that they write all these reviews, they like to feed off of the end game or the Civil Wars because there's always big things that you can take from it. You know what I mean? And with Brave New World, the reality is this: you have to know what has happened to understand the film. You know what I mean? Like you have to know how Sam got here. And I also think that you have to have a love for Sam, and you have to have a love for Captain America and the mantle itself. And I think a lot of the reviewers don't understand, number one, the mantle of Captain America in general. And regardless, and I do think that Falcon, like the ending was bad, but I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier explained the mantle in a very amazing way when him and, you know, Bucky were going back and forth, like, why did Steve choose me? You know what I mean? Like, and if you don't understand that, you will not like this film at all. You know what I mean? And even fans that read comics, just like, you know, Jerry does and me, who is, you know, really coming on that hard, pause, they don't understand the meaning of the mantle of Captain America. And I think that this movie, Brave New World, was like one of the most perfect ways of showing you why the mantle matters. But there are a few things that I did want to talk about. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to hear anything, leave now. But Jerry, you do have a great point. And I think that after this, bro, a lot of journalists have lost their creds, bro. A lot I mean, like this is bad because a lot of fans are saying like, I'm never taking a review serious again. And that's their worst nightmare because I'm going to tell you this, if I want to know if a movie's good, I'm going to John Campea before anybody else.
Yeah.
that's where I'm going first. I'm going to the Den of Nerds, and look, Den of Nerds didn't like it either, but he had some, but his reasons are, even though I don't agree, still valid points. You know what I'm saying? So there are creators out there that have valid reasons because they think deep about this film. But I did want to talk to you.
Is my favorite. You know, what else did I want to say real quick was that you know, there's a lot of times, you know, never mind, whatever. But I was in it. John Campea, I feel like most of the time I agree with his opinion the most out of any other person in the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, John Campea was hype for the horse, but John Campea also said Venom was garbage. Look, yeah, exactly. I mean, and look, the horse isn't the whole film, and Campea, and I watched his review on Venom Last Dance. He said that the film was trash. So it isn't like
I don't understand how that makes someone suck that he was excited for the Venom. Everyone was excited for the Venom horse. It looked cool.
Exactly. Because he didn't destroy his cred by saying it's fire for the horse. Like he still said it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, we all like how Venom looks on camera. He looks dope, but the movies still suck. I mean, just facts. So, but I did want to talk to you, Jerry, about the man that shined in this film, Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford. How did you feel about Harrison Ford as, you know, recasting Thunderbolt Ross? How do you think he was in this film?
He was amazing. I mean, he was one of my favorite parts of the movie. You know, he showed like Angry Hulk so well, like before he turned into Hulk. And he was like, I mean, that is why Harrison Ford is Harrison. Like he really lived up to his legendary name in this movie. It was incredible. And, you know, it's funny because even after, like, I looked up, I was like, this guy, he's got to be worth so much money. Like, why is he making all these movies? So he really just loves it. He has to. You know, online they say his net worth $300 million. Who knows if it's accurate or not? Yeah. But I'm sure he's still worth at least over $100 million. Like he does not need to be doing this. You know, he was great, and I love to see Mark Ruffalo get shown up. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, bro, that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, sorry, that's bad. But yeah, Thunderbolt Ross was amazing. I also loved how Thunderbolt Ross was trying to be better, but like the leader was just trolling, bro. Like the leader just kept throwing obstacle after obstacle, and the idea that because like I was reading some like articles where, or not articles, but some tweets where fans thought that Thunderbolt Ross was lying. Even though, but like if you know the movie, like the leader is setting him up the whole time. But like some people thought that Thunderbolt Ross was a liar and that he is doing all of these things behind the scenes. So, but that boat scene. Remember when he's on that boat and like the leader's talking in his ear, and he's like, oh, and his
Broke the
calves
pipe.
are about to get thick, and then his assistant or whatever comes out and he calms down. His eyes are glowing red. That scene, bro, was like top tier acting. And then like the leader is like pissing him off in his ear. Over it was insane, bro. Like that was amazing. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Sam. One of the things that people didn't. What's up?
I was gonna say, do you have the Raft theory on the docket? Because I want to make sure we don't forget that.
I don't, but I'll add that for after this. I'll add that for after this. The one thing I want to talk about, bro, can you just remind me if I don't bring it up after this?
Yeah.
The next thing is Sam's progression as a character. Like, they made you think like Sam has been studying and preparing to be Captain America. And one of the ways that I thought it was cool was he knows all these languages now. He's talking in Japanese. He's talking in Spanish. You know, he's like, and everyone's referring to him as Cap now. You know, like in the beginning of the film, he got 2 beers for free because he's Captain America.
Yeah.
Right. And I love how they're trying to parallel how like, because Steve was the same way. Steve knew he knew how to speak every tongue. You know what I mean? And so I loved how like they were trying to show us like, it isn't just wings. Like Sam is embodying Captain America. And then right after that scene, we go to Isaiah Bradley too, which was awesome. How did you feel about Isaiah in this movie?
Oh, he was great, man. I felt so bad for him though. Like it was heartbreaking. You know, he didn't want to go. Then they got him excited about it, and like 2 seconds later, he was set up. Which, by the way, in the current Batman run, Jim Gordon kind of went through this pretty much the same exact thing.
Really?
Yeah. It just ended because it was Zdarsky's last issue with 157, and he went super like, I love Zdarsky as a writer, but here we again, it's like, the content was great, but it was political propaganda, you know? I mean, he like took advantage of that hardcore, but whatever, you know, anyway. I thought it was cool though, because it was a really cool story where James Gordon got set up in the same way by Riddler and Mad Hatter and the Court of Owls and, you know, this new villain, Commander Star. It was this like big conspiracy, and I forget who he killed, but he killed someone, and it was like this tech in his glasses that they took advantage of that made him shoot it. And because he really did kill someone, Batman believed it. Like it was a big deal. So it was cool to see that story play out in the movie because it was a cool story in the Batman series. And, you know, this movie, like, bro, it had like multiple plot lines that all came together. Like that was cool.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And then I loved how like the music made him turn, and then he just demolishes just everybody in the room, which was insane. Then he threw the table, and then dude, bro, I laughed when Isaiah jumped off the ledge, and then Anthony Mackie's just going down the steps. I was dying, bro. And then it's funny, bro. Also, because you and I were literally talking about how Sam should have taken the serum, and it's funny because he's like, I should have taken that serum, man. When he's facing off against the Hulk, I'm just laughing like, bro, you should have, bro. You should have.
You know, my thought process on that is it kind of sucks that he never did it in the comics, because if he did it in the movie, people would have knocked it. But it was one of those things, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. People are going to complain either way. So maybe they should have just done it. And I always had the outlook when it comes to professional sports, like, you may as well just let them take the fucking juice, because
100%
more entertaining. And it's the same thing here. Like this, except it's less controversial because he's not actually taking harmful medications for our entertainment. He's doing it in a fictional movie. So he made it. He done it.
And yet they want to blast like a Century, right? Okay, whatever Marvel Studios. But yeah, bro. So this movie was freaking amazing. And then I want to talk about another character here. I wanted to talk about Sabra too, because Sabra had a really key pivotal role. And one of the questions that I had walking into this movie was, how is she going to fit in this? You know, like, what are they going to do with, you know, her character? Because because in the trailers, It looked like she was around, but it was. I was like, how is this? How's she going to fit into the story? So I like the idea of how she's in charge of, Thunderbolt Ross is like his detail. Like I felt like that was cool. I also liked her. I want to talk about her fight choreography because a lot of people, because she was very short and she was like super short, and a lot of people do short people bad in fighting. So like an example is like the character Kit Harington, he plays Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. He has some of the worst fight choreography ever because he's so short, and they try to make him seem like a powerhouse. And like when you're short and you're fighting, in reality, you're not going to always be a powerhouse. You got to be an acrobat. So I liked how they used her acrobatic skill to kind of give her more power in her throws and hits. I mean that like when she was in that freaking tunnel and just like dove into the wall and threw his head into the wall, I was just like, my gosh, bro. Yeah, that was fire. And then so yeah, but the other thing I like too, bro, was that how I thought that she was going to be the one to take Thunderbolt Ross out. I thought she was going to kill him when he turned, and I only thought that because she's been ruthless the whole freaking movie.
Yeah,
so I thought that she was going to be the one to take him out, but obviously Sam didn't. I like the way that Sam did that also. But yeah, Sabra was really good this film, and look. I hope that she shows up again, man. And I would love her to, but I would love to see her with Yelena and with other people that comes from her widow, background. And I wish, and this is just looking back, man. I wish that they had this character in their view because her in the Black Widow movie would have been freaking insane. And I feel like that was, and I feel like that's like a slept on character because she was great.
I feel like she would be great in Thunderbolts because she is like a government type figure that is a black ops kind of agent, and Thunderbolts is obviously black ops governmental bad operative type of thing. So I think it would be cool there, but I doubt we'll see her in that. I just hope we see her again. I appreciate that they mentioned she's Israeli. I wish they kept her actual Israeli name, but whatever. They still didn't erase the Israeli part, so I appreciated that. And yeah, I think listen, it was a good movie. I think Hungry Almighty, that's a fair take. I think it was a little better than a 6.5. I would probably give it a 7.5, but that's fair. And again, like you could not like the movie, but if you don't like the movie, I think at least, I'm not saying you have to give me the reasons, but I think you should at least have some reasons why you didn't think it was a good movie.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. All right, let's read some chats and then we'll get to the next topic. Hello, I'm wondering if we were answer that. That's good to know. Red Hawk Han Solo looks like a good villain. In fact, he is better than good, bro.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like I'm not even gonna spoil it for you. Yeah, he's good. Fellas, I don't know if I should slaughter this film or not on stream. Derpy is not a bad film, bro. And Derpy, like, I would love to guest appear on your show, bro. If you want to debate if it's great or not, just saying, bro. Because I think that movie was freaking amazing. So let's.
Yo, Evol, you should learn your history.
Made a second account. Okay. Anyways, okay. Oh, what flavor vape is that?
Strawberry.
I guess being generous into terms, it was passable, but too simple, too short. And it's funny because I literally said last week, some fans are going to be mad because it was only 2 hours long. I think it was a perfect time. I think it was a perfect runtime. I think it was. What the heck? Oh, I think you were talking about earlier. John Campia sucks. We already answered that. Just watched it yesterday.
Talking about earlier because Corrosive said that earlier. Yeah. What were you talking about, Corrosive?
Yeah. Maybe he thought we were spoiling. I'm not sure. But we said spoiler.
Keep in mind, we don't always read the comments in real time. So like if you comment something not specific, we're not always going to know what you're talking about.
Also, we lift the spoiler ban for us Monday, like other content creators, bro. They start spoiling Saturday. So we try to be very lenient with how soon we spoil the film. So like we think Monday's fair. Just watched it yesterday. Here's what I'm gonna say about the movie. It's a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Man, I couldn't help but feel like some of my friends thought the same thing. It felt like Incredible Hulk 2 without the Hulk, the leader, Red Hulk, Betty Ross returning. Maybe my bias, who knows? Valid take. Valid take. Hungry Almighty is Red Han Solo Hulk. Han Solo Red Hulk worthy, but it's definitely not as bad as the critics are making out to be. Facts. It's a good movie. I liked Mackie as Cap, love the action, but overall, I'm tired of Marvel not. I knew you were gonna say this, not giving us Savage Hawk, but want to give us Hawk characters in other projects like She-Hulk, Amadis, etc.
Sorry,
we're saying go
I
ahead.
don't think a Hulk movie is like the right move. I think Hulk is good with other characters. I think they struggle with the movies. I just don't think Hulk is good for a movie on its own, and I hope that the Red Hulk being awesome in this movie doesn't make people think that. You have to remember that the Red Hulk relied on a lot of other things for this movie to land, and a Hulk movie on its own, I don't think is a good idea. Maybe it's a better idea if you have Harrison Ford and not Mark Ruffalo. And maybe I think differently about it if we see Harrison Ford in other projects as Red Hulk. But judging based on everything we've seen in the MCU, do you really think a Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie would be a good idea?
Yeah. So I don't think Ruffalo does bad with other characters because a lot of characters carry the acting for him. Like when I was rewatching Avengers 1, Tony Stark is like setting him up to make him look good. And that's just being real. Like Tony, Cap, Nick Fury, they were all doing kind of the acting load for him when all he has to do is just give these like monotone lines about how, I'm not trying to stay angry, And so I don't think he could lead his own film, but I do think we should bring, whether if we recast him or not, we need to bring Angry Hulk back, man. And I think you said this on your threads or something about how it is odd how they brought back like his whole rogues gallery darn near, right? Like the leader, Thaddeus Ross, Betty, and the only mention of Bruce Banner is when the news talks about that he was, Betty's ex, and when Thunderbolt Ross talks about him when he's talking about Betty Ross. Bro, those are the only two mentions of Bruce Banner. The leader doesn't even talk about him. And we know how Marvel is, man. If Marvel doesn't put you on the forefront, they're not confident in you, And it's just so this isn't a bias coming from us, but it's just fact. They are not confident in Mark. I mean, they sent them to another planet in She-Hulk. And She-Hulk was already a bad show. So it's just fact.
The other thing is like, I know that the fandom doesn't actually believe a Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie is a good idea, because if they did, when everyone was saying we need the better characters in post Endgame, everyone was saying, oh, well, they killed off Iron Man, they aged out Steve Rogers, and they didn't recast T'Challa. You know what no one was saying? Well, they still have Mark Ruffalo Hulk. No one said that, not once.
Facts. You're not wrong. Let's see. Thought Cap 4 was 7 out of 10, but the pacing was all over the place. If I die without seeing a Red Hulk versus Hulk in live action, I'll haunt Disney for eternity. Facts, bro. Facts. We got to see that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Hulk needs a movie, but what I'm saying is I want the Savage Hulk, but instead of giving us Angry Hulk, they want to give us other Hulk characters like She-Hulk leader, Betty. Facts. Which is why I'm hoping they either recast Hulk in Secret Wars or bring Edward Norton back. If they brought back Edward Norton, that would be insanity. It's nice to see some.
I don't think they would, but like, I need to rewatch the Edward Norton Hulk movie, but I didn't think it was as bad as everyone else did when it came out, but I literally haven't seen it since it came out. But Edward Norton is like an actual legitimate actor. Mark Ruffalo is just a guy on a screen. Yeah.
And I know that because I know from back in the day, they were saying that Norton, the reason why Norton didn't even renew is because he was a nightmare. He was asking for like a lot of bread that Marvel Studios didn't have at the time, so they weren't able to sign him. So maybe spinning the block now. I mean, they got the bread now. It's nice to see some superhero movie fans that are obsessed with fitness. I get tired of hearing that. What? I don't know what that means. Incredible Hulk is the most underrated MCU film. Not the most underrated. Come on now. Let's slow roll a little bit.
Also means like obsessed with the actors and in how in shape they are.
Oh, okay. Is that what you mean? But all right.
Wait, let's get to the theory. The Raft theory.
All right. Wait 1 second. Let me just make a quick banner so I can make a video off this for us. Boop. Copy.
Don't even call it a theory. Just say the Raft. Take the word theory out. I hate that people are calling it a theory. People are like, "Oh, this is my theory, and I'm a genius," and like, "Oh, it's ridiculous." Oh, you read the comics, bro? Like, you know,
you want a cookie?
Yeah.
All right, bro. Go ahead. All you.
All right. So the Raft. Could you add the Raft from Captain America: Brave New World just so it's on there? Thanks.
Like the image?
No, like into the banner, so that way.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah. I try to keep the titles in it always when I post things because I feel like that helps. But anyway, so we know the Raft in this movie that the leader went to. No, sorry, not the leader. Well, I think the leader was there too, but Ross went to. It looks just like the Raft from the comics where Reed takes, I forget exactly who was on the Raft in the comics, but it was kind of like a mashup of the Avengers, and it was actually a really cool scene. But when the incursions are happening, they take a raft to escape Earth to survive. The raft looks exactly like the Raft from Captain America: Brave New World. It's also the same Raft that was in Captain America: Civil War. So there's a couple people that are like, "Oh, yeah, my theory is that this is going to be the Raft they use to escape the MCU Sacred Timeline Earth to Battle World in Doomsday Secret Wars." You know, listen, I think probably what's going to happen. I just don't think it's a genius theory because, again, it's literally what happened in the comics. So it's not really a theory. It's you're predicting that they are going to use the source material for the movie that's based on the source material. So yeah, I'm hoping we do see that. It's actually a really cool scene. Spoiler alert if you plan to read the comics. But in that scene, what happens is Reed loses his whole family. It's pretty crazy. And Dr. Doom takes scraps of different destroyed Earths to create a new planet for everyone. And he calls it Battle World. And Doom is God Emperor Supreme of Battle World. And that's what leads them into Secret Wars. So I think that's probably what we'll see. It's pretty cool. What do you think, Stevie?
I love everything you said. I think that there's something weird about it. And because my thought is Tony Stark had to do something with the design of the Wrath. I think he had to design it some way. And I think that the question I have is like, what's how do we get there? If that makes sense. Like, how do they make that? Like, how do they make that make sense in the MCU? Because now there's no one that has the ability to build that.
Yeah.
And that's where my question now they can. I mean, obviously they're gonna. I'm more than sure they're gonna add something to do with that, and they might even go another way. Like, I mean, I think the multiversal bridge thing that Reed is building in Fantastic Four is something that might be also as important. I'm not sure, but I also have been thinking about that idea of the Raft playing a bigger role, and it can be where like Reed does get there. He's like, "Yo, we have this big behind thing over here. Let's make some upgrades and make it happen." So, I mean, you could obviously make it possible, but I would have loved like some type of thing. But also, the leader's there, who is also smart. So, who knows what's being cooked up behind the scenes? Because I also don't think that the U.S. government is done with the leader yet.
Yeah.
Whether if it's Thunderbolt Ross or whatever, because in the Thunderbolts and after watching this, you can tell that the Thunderbolts is going to be about the aftermath of Thunderbolt Ross. And I think that Val is going to be working with the leader behind the scenes. And that's maybe where this can happen, because this is what I know for sure. If the leader told Sam about the multiversal threat.
Hold on. Bro, you keep coming on to argue with me, and you think you're not the snowflake or you're not the loser.
Man,
how many accounts are you making?
Yeah, bro, come here, bro. If you come here again, dude, you will keep being banned over and over.
It's pathetic.
And I'm gonna report you to YouTube after the show. Sorry, buddy, you're done. But yeah, bro. I think now I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, bro. Okay, I know where I'm at. Yeah, I think that Val is going. If the leader told Sam about that, the question is, who else did the leader tell about this oncoming multiversal threat? Because obviously the leader would listen, or Thunderbolt Ross would listen to him, right? Because he's already giving Thunderbolt Ross meds. Who did Thunderbolt Ross talk to about this? And that's kind of where my kind of brain was leading to.
Yeah, and so he was in my DMs arguing with me about Israel and a bunch of things, and he's just been a snowflake. Like, he's been a fan of the show for a while, but he lost his mind when I posted something about Saber the other day, and he's throwing a temper tantrum. So like, whatever. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the show. But if it's a little entertaining for you, I'm
here, right? Look, yo, we just don't tolerate just racism in any shape or form, bro. And if it's being shown, you will get removed, and that's just our personal rule. Yeah. And that's just how we, that's how we move. So
yeah.
But yeah. So how do you think about that? Like, you think that Thunderbolt Ross might have known, and might have told somebody, and that it's kind of a thing in the government where they might be secretly preparing for it? Like,
I don't know.
And this is a reach.
Yeah, I don't know how the government would know about the incursions coming without working with someone like Doctor Strange, or you gotta.
Oh my gosh,
military, but they, to read incursions coming, that's pretty like advanced. It seems a little more advanced, and I think you would need like superpowered beings to do that.
And also, like, if you're thinking about the MCU, right? Like, the whole Doctor Strange thing happened. Some things happened on Earth where they experienced some of that. The whole Spider-Man situation where freaking all the villains popped up, right? So they're definitely keeping track somehow. And this is where I think like someone like Norman Osborn would be perfect for a situation, like this, working with the government to try to stop some of these things happening. But this is where, like, the question is, like, who's being introduced in the Thunderbolts, because I think it's more than just what we see.
Yeah,
like, there's definitely more to the, like, there's a brain behind some of the stuff that's going on, and I don't think it's Val.
The more I think about it, the more I'm hoping that, and really, you got me thinking this way just now, Stevie, but I hope there's some connection to Brave New World and the Thunderbolts, because there's potential there. But it does seem like there is a big lack of shared universe connectivity post Endgame. And that's why I didn't like someone saying, like, and it had a lot of likes, but someone was like, you guys are like ridiculous. Endgame had like 5 years of buildup. Bro, Endgame was 6 years ago. Okay. We're not like in 2022 anymore. It's 2025. And Avengers Doomsday is next year. Okay. So they're going to need a lot of shared universe connectivity from now until Avengers Doomsday. So that's not an unfair complaint to have. But that complaint is much larger than Captain America Brave New World. If you thought Captain America Brave New World was going to be the big bridge for the MCU, like, that's crazy. I did think there was going to be a little more about them building the Avengers, but that barely came. I've always kind of expected Fantastic Four to be that movie. And who knows? Maybe it's not. I think it will be. I might be wrong on that. But I just don't know where else they're going to do it if it's not done in Fantastic Four. Who knows? Maybe Thunderbolts will get some of that. You know. Oh, an interesting thing about do we have Thunderbolts on the docket?
No, but I can add it if you want.
Or
we can just talk about it here, and I'll just make a
okay. So yeah, the Thunderbolts asterisk supposedly in like Japan or something. They said on the bottom of the poster that the asterisk supposedly it said something like it had the asterisk and then the asterisk below saying because the Avengers weren't available or something like that. So maybe there is some bigger connectivity with the Thunderbolts and the Avengers not being available and Val, and she bought Avengers Tower. And you guys think there's a good comment. I can tell already. You guys think Sentry should be part of the Avengers team in Doomsday if the audience is like him, since he's been one before, and why not have another powerhouse on the team? Not a bad point. You know, if fans like him, I mean, there are some fans that definitely seem hyped for him. I think he's been overrated by fans. I think a lot of fans like heard about Sentry, saw a picture of him, thought he looked like Superman, and like were like, oh, I like Sentry now. And I think some of them even went back and read some Sentry comics. But like the thing about like people like that who see stuff coming from the movies, so they read a couple of comics, so they feel like they know what they're talking about. When you read like a lot of comics and you read through like Marvel's history, you'll understand that Sentry doesn't really have a lot of lore. Like he doesn't have a lot of comic appearances. I'm not saying that means they can't make him bigger in the MCU. But I do think that my point in saying that now is that I think a lot of fans that are hyped for him are hyped from him not based on the comics. I think they're hyped on him based on other things and other factors. But, you know, who knows? Maybe Sentry has something to do with the, you know, Secret Wars Doomsday. I don't know. I don't really know where the connection would be. But maybe that's a way to add a powerhouse and not have to rely on Captain Marvel, because we know people aren't happy with Captain Marvel right now.
Yeah. My logic is what can Sentry be that Thor already isn't? That's how I feel when it comes to powerhouses. And if Sentry was in it, I think that the Russos will make Doom take him out first to say like, yo, is this your king? We're gonna take him out quick. Like if that was to happen, you know, cool. So yeah, that'll be dope. So, and man, and like they could even go simple and where like Doom somehow is feeding, you know, them info about the multiverse and the Raft. Yeah. I mean, they could really just simplify and just do it that way for Thunderbolt as well. Because I think it was New Rockstars. Like I think he was talking about how he had a theory somewhere like the Thunderbolts where he's like he was on the Norman Osborn train, but he's like it would fit the MCU better if Doom's influence starts now, leading into F4, which I also wouldn't be against too. So that would be dope as well. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Because I think right now anything's possible.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, now let's see. Oh, you can answer that question. All right, now let's get to the next topic here. So Avengers Doomsday, man, we got some Avengers Doomsday news. So Avengers Doomsday starts filming in March. We obviously know that RDDJ is filming for the brunt of that time because, you know, this is this movie, obviously. Yeah. And Chris Hemsworth is there. He's about to start filming, and I heard that Elizabeth Olsen is also on her way to start filming there. Is also Tom Holland is also confirmed to be filming, but he's going to miss part of it because he's filming for the Odyssey. So his stunt double is doing all of his action parts, and then he's going to come back and do his, you know, his face work and all of that stuff. A lot of fans were crying about him not being there, and I did a whole thing on TikTok about it, how like with most people like RDJ says all the time. He said when the mask goes on, I'm in the trailer. I'm going. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of
tell us that. That's I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's from it's definitely a rumor from Snyder, but he's been right about everything. So so
people love to disrespect him, but he is right about a lot of things.
Bro, he cooks, bro. He's been cooking, and what I like about him is he's not a Marvel fan and geek like us, and that's why I like his content. because he's not necessarily like a nerd, like Dead a Nerd, something like that. You know what I mean?
He's just
But anyways,
in Snyder.
Yeah, he's funny, man. He's funny.
Yeah,
his tweets are funny. But yeah, and I think that this is going to be number one. It's just insane that they're already filming. I mean, and I am just excited to just see the trailer. We're getting. I mean, we all know we're getting something for Comic-Con. This is. I mean, because it's just a given. It's going to be something, and I am just waiting.
I think what they're going to do, and I've said this before, but like, I think a lot of people were like, what's Avengers Doomsday? If you actually read the source material in Secret Wars, the first issue, they all talk about it. It's when their incursion happens, and they all call it Doomsday. So I think it's pretty obvious that that's what they're doing. 100%. And I think that's going to go hard too. Like when you see them, dealing with an incursion, that's going to be crazy. I also think, the Avengers are going to lose big in Doomsday. I think they're kind of trying to do the Infinity War Endgame thing where the Avengers take the big L and then have the comeback. I think it's just a tried and true formula. It works, and it builds a hype. So I think that's going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, bro, it's going to be super awesome. And I just think a lot of people are going to be shocked how ruthless RDJ is going to be as Dr. Doom, because a lot of fans still see him as Tony Stark. And I think that's what I can't. And please, guys, please don't take this as a toxic way. But like when I watch sports, right, I love when people cheer for teams that I hate and they lose. It's like the greatest thing ever. And so I have this sports group chat where it's like 12 of us, and all we do all day is just call each other idiots and other words that I'm not going to say on the show. And we have this thing that we call a hate watch. And basically,
nothing wrong with tough competition.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we have a fantasy league, and it just gets toxic. So the reason why we call it a hate watch is because we all hate the Baltimore Ravens. So we all just talk trash about Baltimore the whole time, and like it's going to feel very similar when so many people are going to think that like this is going to be like a good guy, and then Doom's just going to take out like everybody. Yeah, it's going to be so fun to watch. I am so freaking excited for that. And for him to just cook all of these characters, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait. And oh man, Doom is just such an incredible character. Like, and Secret Wars is like a deep character analysis on Doom and Reed. It's gonna be so sick. I can't wait for Fantastic Four, man. I'm so hyped for that movie.
Yeah, you are, bro. Yeah, Fantastic Four is going to be movie of the year for me, man. I am so hard. The more, and dude, I watch, and you and I both, we watch the freaking trailer every day. I like it's just, and then bro, the funny thing was when I was at the movies, like everybody was talking, and then when the Superman trailer came on, people weren't as quiet. Like they were quiet, but when the Fantastic Four trailer came on, everybody in my theater locked in, and all three times they locked in, and oh man, I'm hype.
I'll just text you.
Okay. All right. Let's read some chats here. Let's see. By the way, let me see. You guys think Sentry? We read that. I mean, why not? You can have Doom take him out to establish how powerful he is. Facts. That would be crazy. Exactly. Yeah, Doom taking out Sentry is fire. Sam, Cap, Thor, Savage Hulk, Cap Marvel, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, Sentry as the Avengers, and then Spidey and Strange in the movie as non-Avengers. Am I missing anyone that should be in it? Well, you're missing. I think Yelena is definitely going to be the Black Widow of the team, so you got to put her on there. Hawkeye is definitely going to be on there. I think that's probably everyone. I don't think Miss Marvel. Like, I think it's weird, bro, because it's all about how they do it. Because like with the last Avengers film, when they did a big one, they kind of split up the teams. You know what I mean? So it's all about how they do it, bro. So like that roster could be 20 people, but split up between 10. So I don't know. I think the number of characters that they could do is endless. Let's see. I hope this doesn't come off me, but I used to struggle with stuttering and got a coach to help. Have you thought of doing this so far? Yeah, so I have gotten a coach, man, and the thing with my speech, bro, is that, and I'm a preacher too, so I'm a pastor. I preach at church, and I've done so much therapy, bro. But it's just something that I just have to live with forever, bro. To be honest, and like I still practice, and when I do TikToks, I'm practicing. I try to practice words, but dude, it's been so hard for me to kind of beat that. And when, oh my god, bro,
Real quick.
and
You're such a loser that you need to make so many accounts, bro. You're like throwing a temper tantrum. And why don't you show your face? Why don't you put your real name up here?
Yeah, bro. Stop coming on our channel, dude.
And
but yeah, so yeah, bro.
Too,
yeah.
Idiot.
But yeah, bro. So yeah, stuttering has been such a problem, bro. But I'm trying to be better every day, bro. But it's honestly something that I have to, deal with. So I mean, I just take it on head on, just like life. I always dealt the right cards, right? But you gotta, put in your work, and hopefully you'll see the results of it. But yeah, all right. Next topic here. Okay, so I really want to talk to you about this, bro, and we're gonna talk about the Superman costume after this as well. Sorry, text. I am okay. Why is James Gunn, indeed the DCU, so obsessed with the Clayface movie? Now, I'm not against it, but it's like there's so many other projects to be talking about, and there's just constant news coming out about this. So I wanted to ask you, as like as you like being like the OG, why is it that James Gunn and the DCU team will be so hyped to put out a Clayface movie? Like, because I just don't understand the perspective.
So I love Clayface as a character, first off, and I normally hate monster type characters. So when Clayface won me over in the comics, I was shocked. Clayface is a great character, but having said that, most people don't really care for him. They don't really know him. I guess you probably have to read a lot of comics to cross over Clayface, but there's one specific run. It's Detective Comics Batman by James Tynion, and Clayface has a pretty big role actually as part of the Bat family. It was pretty cool. So that's where I grew to like Clayface. But I think that they are doing I think that they have a real business model figured out at DC Studios, and I think everything revolves around that. James Gunn had made it be known that they're not going to basically make movies unless the script is good, and that has to happen first before anything gets greenlit. I think what happened is two things here. I think number one, they got a script that they loved, and number two, they were able to put together a really low budget for the movie, so it made sense. And I think now they have gotten to a point where they really believe in the project, so they're hyping it up. And I think it feels odd to everyone else, rightly so, because people are just like, Clayface, what?
Yeah.
But I do think that when this movie comes out, based on their confidence in it, I think it's going to be good. And I think people are going to be like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, I just hope that it doesn't take theaters, and I hope that it's a streamable thing. Like kind of like how they did Werewolf by Night. I wanted to be like that, where it's like they do a presentation, because I don't think it would do good in theaters at all.
Maybe that's a fair point. But I doubt it's going to release on streaming. So Werewolf by Night was a special presentation under 2 hours. This is going to be a 2-hour thing.
What? Really?
I think it's a full movie.
Oh my! Wait, let me check. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Runtime. Let me see.
They're not going to have the runtime yet.
Oh, well, it was supposed to come out. They were supposed to do one before. That's crazy. Yeah, there's no runtime for it yet, but that's crazy. But James Gunn said that they're trying to do a full film. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what other characters do. Well, I guess you don't really need a Batman character to kind of be in his origin. So
yeah, I think it's going to.
It's all about how they brand it too.
Yeah, they're saying it's like a horror, thriller, tragedy. They're gonna have to market the hell out of this.
Oh yeah, bro, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's a big reach. But hey, man, even though I don't see the vision, I hope that when we see trailers and stuff, it'll be better. Let's see. Hunger on Mindset. My best guess is he's going to use the Clayface movie to establish the DCU Batman. I would not be surprised or put it past Gunn on having a DCU Batman post-credit scene. I think that would be awesome as well. I think that would be awesome as well. But I'd be shocked if we get that announcement at this Comic-Con as well. But while we're on DCU talk, let's talk about this Superman costume, man. So I think, what was it, yesterday or the day before?
A couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. So we saw that the Superman costume was kind of shown in its full form. And when you guys watch this on playback, I'll have the image so you can see it. And it was Shaq. Shaq was in the trailer, because who doesn't love Shaq? Shaq is hilarious. And it was David Cornsweet and James Gunn. And obviously, a lot of people trashed it. But Jerry, how do you feel about seeing the suit in its full form?
I think it looked bad because it wasn't on someone, and the trunks looked like long and baggy, and the belt loops don't fit the belt properly, and it makes the material look flimsy and like cheap plastic. It's not good, bro. And you know, I hate to say it because there's a very biased Snyder cult out there that's always like, oh, the suit looks terrible, the Snyder suit's better. And it's like, you know, the suit's not bad. It's not a bad suit. And I do think it looks much better when he's wearing it, and in the movie, like in the trailer, it actually looked really good. And I do think the first couple shots we saw of it looked good. I don't hate the suit by any means, but I do think the trunks, you know, at first I hate trunks. I hate underwear over pants. I think it looks corny. I think it's stupid. And like, I think the justification they have for the trunks further proves my point. You know, basically James Gunn said it was David Cornsweet's idea because David Cornsweet said Superman shouldn't be intimidating to children so they could embrace him. Oh, so you don't want to make him intimidating, so you make him look like a clown. Great idea. You know, like, he still needs to look cool. He's Superman. And, you know, I think I said something like that once, and someone was like, oh, Superman doesn't need to look cool. No, he does. He does, actually. And, you know, the trunks, I think most trunks look bad. I do. But they don't normally ruin a suit for me as much as these ones do. These ones are like insult to injury bad. And if you look at that picture, I wish we had it up. But the belt loops and the long, it's funny. I saw like some like girl influencer, and she was pretty hot, and she was like, you know, if I have what's called a long ass, because someone commented like she's got a long ass, she was like, we're in trouble, ladies, because I think mine looks tight, something like that. And you know, when I saw this picture, I thought of that comment because, yeah, it just looks like long granny underwear on a Superman suit. It looks horrible. And then the belt loops don't properly fit the belt, and it looks like cheap, flimsy plastic. It's bad. And, you know, this movie needs to crush it, okay? The DCU could be dead on arrival if this movie doesn't crush it. And like all these decisions, I mean, look how long that underwear is. Crazy, bro. It's so bad. It makes the pants look bad too. The way like the underwear, oh my God, it's horrible. It's so bad. And I know you agree with me because you're laughing.
Bro, it's just your reaction, bro. It's so funny.
Yeah. Could you now agree with me that trunks are bad?
Ugh. Look like he's got a camel toe.
I love James Gunn, okay? I do. I'm a big James Gunn fan. I'm not like,
oh my God, bro,
at all. But and I hope you guys could recognize this because this is what being unbiased looks like. I just tell you, I love James Gunn, but I'm still going to criticize something when it deserves to be criticized. It's important. It is important to be honest, and it's important to have your credibility and your integrity. And a lot of people in this space don't do that. They pick certain things and then they cape for it and play mental gymnastics for the rest of their lives. Very specifically, a guy that I beefed with on Threads over the summer. If you know, you know. I hate that phrase, but whatever.
Okay. As the costume connoisseur that I've called myself anyways, I want to break, and I forgot to break down on TikTok. What is wrong with me? I got to do that after the show.
What did you say about TikTok?
I forgot to break this down on TikTok. Totally forgot. I'm going to do that after this. Okay. The costume connoisseur has arrived. Okay. Now let's break this down, guys. First off, the logo's fire. We love the logo. Okay. That's the only great thing about this suit. I hate bagginess on my Superman. I don't get why Superman's costume looks baggy. And and look, the reality is that there's a lot of editing to make it look more blue. There's a lot of editing to make it fit a little bit more. I know that it's not going to look just like that in the actual movie, but this is just an echo of what you and I have said 1,000 times, that the rollout has been very unprofessional and there has been not a lot of attention to detail. You know, fans have been giving you hell for this stuff. You make the changes to make it work. The same way with, Sonic. When Sonic 1 first came out, they dropped a trailer where Sonic looked terrible. And they said, we're going to push this movie back and make it fit the fans and make it be the way that, they like it. And now we're on Sonic 3. And Sonic 3 did amazing in box office. And so that's just where, I think that, and I have watched a lot of James Gunn podcasts. So there's this podcast called Inside of You, Pauls. And it is, and the guy who had the podcast, he played Lex Luthor in Smallville, and he basically interviews a bunch of old school CW stars. He just did an interview with Grant Gustin like a week ago. Really great, interview. Hearing Grant's take on CW in the Flash. And the one thing that I've learned about James Gunn is that he has I don't pay attention to haters attitude when it comes to the things he makes. That can be your greatest gift and your greatest curse. Because as much as people might give me and Jerry critiques, Jerry and I still read it and make sure that it's not true. Because even when people hate on you, sometimes the takes are still valid. And I think that with the Superman suit, as much as the motivation is coming from a wrong place, some of the stuff is true. And that's just how I feel about this costume. And I've defended the costume 1,000 times, but this shot is absolutely terrible. And I think the bottom of the trunks is more so the worst part, because the weight, and I've seen a lot of animated shows do the trunks differently, and you either have two options when it comes to trunks, right? It either looks like a skirt, because it kind of looks like you put your shorts over your pants, because that's what a lot of dudes do in the animated shows, and that looks weird on a dude, right? And they've done that with a Superman before. Or you have to make the costume super slim tight, kind of like what we saw with Henry Cavill. That's the only way trunks work. And this
Henry Cavill didn't have trunks.
No, but I'm saying, if you do trunks on a character, it has to be really tight. Pause. Like the actual suit fitting on you for it to even look right. But look at the stitching on the bottom. It just looks very unprofessional. Sorry. Go ahead. And I don't want to hear the excuse of Martha Kent made it, because all the other times Martha Kent made a costume, it didn't look like this. Just saying.
Yeah, and that's why I can't stand people who cape. It's like, oh, if you're going to say, oh, well, Martha Kent made it, you're admitting it's bad, but you're coming up with an excuse. Like, bro, this is a movie, okay? It needs to look cool. And look how the pants look like skinny jeans, and then the top is baggy. And I don't mind the top being not as fitted, and I don't think skinny jeans are necessarily a bad thing. And I think they can look cool if they have stacks. But these look like Hot Topic, goth skinny jeans. And it looked, and you could really see it around the knee, right above the kneecap area. But those trunks are bad, really, really bad. And the thing about haters is, people say the haters are your biggest fans. Haters, as long as it's not oh, I hate you because you're Jewish or you're black. haters like, and they're actually critiquing something legitimately, even though you could tell that they hate you and they're biased, a lot of the times those types of haters live to criticize you. So they're going to find things that you may not realize that you could actually learn from. That's why, like, in, professional environments, like those bosses or someone who's like a mentor to you, when they're really harsh, it's not always comfortable, but you can learn a lot from that. And that's a lot of the ways how you grow. That's why, like, a tough coach a lot of times is a really good thing. So
yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, like when you were in a place where like anyone can kill you for anything, you have to be careful with the way that you're branding things. And to me, it's like you're not helping yourself when you do this. Now, reality check here. Is this going to hurt people going to see the movie? No, it's not. Because in my opinion, that Superman trailer showed us that people are going to show up to see this movie. But public opinion also does matter, bro. And when you do stuff like this, it just doesn't help the narrative that you're trying to throw along. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even the body frame of the mannequin makes Superman look like he got a dad bod. You know what I mean? It just like, just look at the mannequin. He looks weird, bro. It's terrible. That's terrible, man. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. So yeah, man, and like, yeah, I'm not a fan, but as I said, I don't think it's gonna look this bad when he has it on with the camera edits, but that can't be the excuse of why. Because when I look at Sam's costume for Brave New World, it's gas.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, when I see Falcon's costume, it's fire. Sabra had that one breastplate, but it was fire. I don't care. That joint was hard. When it had the colors, I was fire. So like there's no excuse to give us this.
Yeah.
And if budget is a problem, then you need to find a way to make it look better. I just, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't think the budget was the issue. And there are ways to be edgy and do things fresh without it looking like this. And I really hope that we never see Trunks in the DCU again, because like they should learn from this. And it doesn't seem like they have. But maybe actually, a lot of the Snyder fans, specifically Aaron Fisher, who I find the most entertaining out of them. I actually like Aaron, but he's funny. Anyway, he goes by My Review, Aaron Fisher, if you want to check him out. I follow him. But he said that he thinks that they're embarrassed by the Trunks. He made the point that with the original poster that dropped a couple days before the trailer, the Superman the Superman title, text, and the blur that was like part of the art was super blurry over the Trunks. You really couldn't see the Trunks in that poster. Maybe he's got a point.
Yeah. And Corn Sweat, we love you, but that was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
and this comes from someone who was pro Trunk when it's done right. But that was a terrible idea, bro. Should have kept it no Trunks. Yeah. So, but yeah. Oh, nah, please don't. I think after this, James Gunn might not ever do Trunks again, bro.
Yeah, I hope so.
Gosh. Okay, next topic here. Now, Jerry, I think I'm gonna say her name wrong. Is her last name Qualley or Qualley?
Qualley.
Okay, perfect. So Maraget Qualley is rumored to be idle. And I spelled that wrong. 1 second, guys. We got to keep it professional around here, people. Hold on. Let me change that for you guys. My apologies. 1 second, y'all. Okay, so here we go, guys. My apologies. So Maraget Qualley, she is rumored to be eyed to play Rogue in the MCU. So as you guys know, last week we talked about the fact that there is an X-Men movie that is rumored to be coming out in 2027 following Secret Wars. And we were obviously hyped about that. And you tweeted about this saying that you liked it. So why do you like Maraget, Qualley being rumored to be in talks for that role?
I like her. I think she was great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I know she's got like a cult following. I know she's like artsy, but like more in a cool, edgy way than like theater musical artsy. And, I think that she would be a great find for Marvel because I think that she's going to have a really good career. and if Marvel could pick her up before she is that like big name, kind of like what you were saying on social media the other day. You know, she's not a big name yet. I think some people know who she is, but a lot of people obviously don't. I wouldn't know who she was if it wasn't for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I think that she has a cult following, so there's a big value add when it comes to selling tickets. And I think she's a talented actress, and you know, I think she would be great as Rogue. I really do. And Rogue is one of like the main X-Men. So if you're not aware, it's one of the more important castings for the X-Men. And it's good that she's not that famous yet, because Marvel will still not have to pay her an exorbitant amount of money. And that's going to be important when it comes to the X-Men, because there's a lot of them, and they're going to have to balance that budget somehow.
Facts. So Rogue is going to be one of the biggest one of the biggest female characters in Marvel history. Rogue has always been loved. She's one of the most cosplayed characters in our world. And people adore Rogue. I think this is the perfect casting. I think that you got, as what Jerry said, right? You got to go for the lower tier, and not lower tier as in talent, but lower tier as in getting jobs and stuff like that. Because these
lower
jobs
cost.
Yeah, exactly. These jobs to create people. That's why James Gunn went for the Derek Cornsweats and the Rachel Brosnans. But then he got a vet. But then he got a vet with, you know, Nicholas Hoult, because Nicholas Hoult has already done, you know, really big projects. So I think that this is a great the decision on Feige's part if they are trying to, you know, cast a actress like her, because the Gambit and Rogue connection is going to be generational, and that's going to feed families. And you know, there are two versions of couples that fans are going to love. First one is Cyclops and Jean. Obviously, we all know that's that's going to be super big. And then the other two is going to be Rogue and Gambit. And as you saw in X-Men 97, they were pretty much memed up the whole time. So this is a great actress to do that. And then I saw her. She had like a bit at the Golden Globes that went viral. So she's already being loved by like a lot of people. So yeah, this is a great move on their part.
Yeah, no, she really does have a cult following, because I remember like when that movie came out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I had never heard of her, but I was paying attention to it on social media, and people were like going nuts for her. It was crazy. And I was like, who is this girl? So yeah, I think it'll be cool. I also think she got with Pete Davidson.
Really? Dude, we have some really great, like, we have a really good core of young actors, like, right now in Hollywood, with Tom Holland, Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, what's the other girl? Jenna Ortega. Yeah, she's really good, dude. She's becoming an age. She's shooting up quick. But like, we got a really good Florence Pugh. We got a really good, you know, group going. Right now.
We do. And hopefully the DCU takes advantage of that also.
100%. All right, let's see. If this is the X-Men with younger actors, then Hugh cannot be Wolverine for the MCU. They need to get a rebooted Wolverine, unless you want to see a 60-something-year-old Hugh Jackman flirting with a 20-year-old.
You know,
yeah.
A lot of people are saying they think they're going to go with Hugh Jackman, and I agree with you in a way, but I do think they might do Hugh Jackman anyway and make it work. And I think that because Deadpool and Wolverine was such a massive success, and a lot of people are saying there's a lot of rumors out there that they're keeping Hugh Jackman on as Wolverine, and I think they might do it. I really do.
I think so too.
I would like to see someone new in the role, but I wouldn't be upset at Hugh Jackman. We know he's great. We know he can do it. And, you know, listen, he still, you know, looks great. So,
yeah, I also think that, because we all know how Kevin Feige is, like, he doesn't like rehashing old stuff. I think it's going to be a minute before we see the Wolverine and Jean Grey romance.
Yeah, I could see that.
And also, if the multiversal baggage is still there, is more of an excuse for Hugh Jackman not to want to go down that road. I'm not sure how that would work, but if like Hugh Jackman Wolverine still remembers the past, like X-Men: The Last Stand, he wants no parts. Yeah, so I don't believe this rumor at all. Oh, Kevin's
back.
All right, Robert Pattinson. Okay, so Robert Pattinson, he's doing a lot of press for a movie called Mickey 17 or something like that. It's basically just a movie where this guy signs up for this like government where he keeps dying. They keep bringing him back to life over and over again. Robert Pattinson is a A-list actor. He's been famous forever. He was in Harry Potter. He's done Twilight, and then after Twilight, which he got killed for, which I don't know why, they're great movies. He did kind of a stint to where he did all these smaller films and independent films where he's really secreted himself as a versatile actor. And he's one of the best actors that we have out here, honestly. And so he ended up talking about the Batman 2, and here was his quote. He said, "Matt Reeves is a very careful writer, but I finally know what it's about. It's very cool, and I am very excited." And he also talked about in a last press interview, I think like a few days ago before that they start filming the Batman, I think mid-fall this year. So how do you feel about, Robert Pattinson already talking about that, that like he's going to start to prepare to play Batman? And what is your anticipation right now for, the Batman 2 coming off of that amazing Penguin show?
I can't wait, man. The Batman epic crime saga is turning out to be one of the greatest comic book movie franchises ever. And I love Pattinson as Batman. I think it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to find out who the villain is. I think, obviously, if you've been watching the show, I think it's going to be the Court of Owls or Hush. I would prefer the Court of Owls. It sounds like they definitely know who it is at this point, and the script is written or almost done at least. And I hope we find out soon. I don't think we will. I kind of think that they're going to put off on telling us. Maybe we'll find out by the end of the year, but I don't think we're going to find out in the next 6 months or so.
100%. It's definitely going to be a while before we hear something. Unless it's leaked out. That's the only way we know is if it's leaked out. But yeah, I echo everything you say, and I'm very excited for the Batman General, because if you guys have watched superhero movies long enough, the sequel is usually always the best film because the actor's more comfortable. He feels like he can take more risk and do more stuff, and the directors as well is just more comfortable with the character in film. So, and with Matt Reeves doing Penguin and the Batman 1, I think that Matt Reeves he's probably in a place where he's having fun. He's having fun, just like how we were just talking about how Dr. Doom is being written very well. I think that he's in a place where he's ready to cook up. And I think we're in a place to see something special going. But were you about to say something?
Yeah. So next month, Batman issue 159 is releasing, which is issue number 1 of Hush 2. Maybe it is Hush, and they're going to play off the anticipated success of the new comics. I'm not saying it's definite. I think that there's been a lot of hints that it's going to be Hush. I think there's been a lot of hints that it's going to be Court of Owls, and I don't think anyone could say for certain which of the two it will be. But it is interesting that Hush 2 starts next month.
I also love the fact that fans know what the Court of Owls are, because usually a lot of fans don't know who these people are, and a lot of people do know, but I mean, why would I even be shocked?
You have to remember. They were in Gotham. They were in Batman vs. Robin, the animated movie. You don't necessarily have to read the comics to have experienced Hush. That's the Court of Owls. But also Hush, there's they have an animated Hush movie too.
Banger, by the way.
It is a banger, but they did change some of the big things from the comics. I forget exactly which, but
I gotta read that story.
Yeah, bro. Oh, it's incredible. It's also like, I think it's like the Batman story that really modernized Batman comics. When did it come out? Batman Hush. First. Yeah, it was. It was January 2003. It was great, bro. My local comic shop told me that when it came out, people would come to the comic store on release day and they would read it in the store to discuss it after. Yeah.
I wish I was alive during that time, or I wish I was conscious during that time. I was like 2 years old.
Me too. Well, I was conscious, but I wasn't reading comics.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I 100% do not expect Robin, but it would be cool if we get like a young Dick Grayson cameo, letting the universe know that there's a Grayson in this uni, kind of like the Miles cameo Homecoming. I hope that we don't. As Robin be my favorite superhero. By the way, guys, I'm having a son and he is being named after Robin. So I'm all in right now. So I honestly just want to say Robin for the DCU at this point. That's kind of where I'm at. If they're not going to give us the full-fledged Robin, just don't even like push it. So Robert Pattinson, okay actor, his Batman film was boring and lacking action. So the reason why the Batman lacked action was, number one, it was more of a detective murder mystery film, but also you got to understand, bro, this is year 2 Batman. He's still trying to figure out himself, and a lot of things weren't up to par with Batman. It wasn't just his fighting that wasn't up to par, also his gadgets and his car and stuff like that. So I do expect to see a lot of improvements going into this second Batman film. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also think that there's a reason why Batman was not very present during the Penguin show. And I even have a theory that I'm working on a video actually about that. When during the last Penguin episode, when that Batman signal shows up, I don't think Batman is going to show up. And I think there's a reason behind him not being around.
I think that him not being around, maybe they'll explain it, but I do think the main reason was because it was a TV show.
Oh yes, but for sure. But they're definitely going to add something to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't think he's upset about what happened because there was this rumor going around that Batman didn't show up or Batman wasn't around because he was upset about the fact that he flooded the whole city. But I was like, but in the end of the movie, he's like, I'm a beacon of hope. So that doesn't make sense with the film. So
yeah. He didn't say beacon hope though. That's the Superman.
No, but I'm just, but he was just like, like I have to be something more, right? And
yeah.
In the end, he's like, I know what I have to be. Like I have to be the Batman.
Yeah. Not just vengeance.
Yeah. Then we get that epic bike ride in the end. Oh gosh, I love that movie. All right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the Talons pretty much dead super soldier zombies? So how would that work in the Grounded Batman? Now, Jerry, you have talked about this. I will let you cook.
So they're not necessarily zombies, but they are highly trained, like what's the word I'm looking for?
Assassins?
Yeah, assassins that are like agents of the Court of Owls. So the Court of Owls is like the secret society, and it's kind of like a board of members that have a say and control things. But the Talons are, they're not zombies, but they do resurrect and could be revived after they die. But they're really just like battle trained elite warriors, and they are bound to the court's will, and their memories get wiped out, so they're super obedient to the court, and that could give them, like, I guess maybe a zombie like situation, and they could get reanimated and serve as tools for the court and their nefarious goals, but they're not zombies per se.
Facts. All right, now a possible victory lap if this happens, but it's looking more like a victory lap because this is going around in the rumor mill. So let me read this off to you guys. Marvel Studios is rumored to be wrapping up the Kang storyline in the MCU. Dr. Doom could be the one to kill him. Now, a lot of people thought that the Kang storyline was wrapped up in Loki season 2, but we both have said on this show multiple times that we don't think that's true, and that there has to be a signal of Kang being killed, to bring us into this era of Dr. Doom. So I have to use the bathroom, but please take your victory lap, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even 2 minutes.
So it was obvious that they couldn't just pretend Kang never existed. They had to exit Kang from the MCU in some way, shape, or form. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're bringing back Jonathan Majors or whatever. But my theory was that I always thought Doom was going to kill Kang. I thought Doom was going to kill Kang, and they're going to go into Secret Wars, and that was going to be the way to build up Doom. The other thing here is Doom always kills Kang in the comics. So based on the source material, it's very comic accurate and very much on brand. I love Kang. I also love Doom. They're two of my favorite villains of all time. I would love to see Doom kill Kang. I think that would be awesome. And I do think for everyone, like, I think that would just build up how menacing, savage, and big of a villain Doctor Doom is to one up Kang and kill Kang. There are times in the comics that Doctor Doom, he's like, there was a time he was like, Kang might try to cross me. I'm just going to kill him so it doesn't even I don't have to worry about it. Like, he is that savage. He is that guy. So I really hope we see this, not just because I would get my other big victory lap, but because it would be absolutely awesome.
Exactly. And what's funny is, like, and we're going to talk about this next, but One World Under Doom is kind of like a similar thing, right? Where he knew who was going to cross him, so he kind of killed him off before anyone knew it, right? And it's just who Doom is. Doom is the character where it's like, I know you're going to do something to me, so I'm going to take you out, and then I'm going to gaslight everybody else to make them seem like I did the right thing. You know what I mean? To make it seem like I am the one that made the right decision. And so there is a easy way for Doom to make this look good. He can easily make this look good. So, and that's where I think that we're going to get another Killmonger-like situation, or a Thanos-like situation, or a Magneto situation, where Doom is going to make a lot of fans be like, I understand your point. I understand why you're doing this, because that's the man that Dr. Doom is. One of my favorite comic book shots ever from Dr. Doom, and this might sound stupid to you guys, is when so there's an incursion happening right on top of Latveria, right? And Dr. Doom's fighting in. Wait, is that Dr. Doom's son that has the same costume as him, or is it like his ward or whatever?
He has a lot of Doom bots that dress like Dr. Doom.
Yeah, there's a guy, I don't know if it isn't his son, but it's like his ward, basically, but he's dressed up like Doom to an extent.
Okay.
And they're both fighting, and then the Illuminati pops up, and he's like, why the frick are you here? And basically like T'Challa and them, like, they destroyed the planet, and then they dip, and Dr. Doom's like, what just happened? What just happened? And then this is my favorite shot, is he invites Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange over for dinner. And they're just sitting there, and Reed's talking to Doom's boy, and Doom's like, bro, I'm not like, I invited you over to be nice, but I'm not here to freaking like what the heck happened, bro? And that's Dr. Doom, bro. He's all about business, and that's what I'm excited to see, bro. Like, oh my god, it's gonna be so fun.
You say that, because so Marvel has always done this thing called like 2-in-1, and it's usually the Thing with someone else. But I've been reading Chip Zdarsky's 2-in-1, which is the Thing and Johnny Storm without Reed and Sue immediately after Secret Wars. And Infamous Iron Man is amazing. I wouldn't recommend reading Infamous Iron Man if you haven't already read Doctor Doom comics, Secret Wars. If you don't really know much about Doctor Doom, Infamous Iron Man is not the place to start, because it's a very alternate, unique type of take on Doctor Doom, where he is like in his redemption arc, and he tries to become Iron Man and take over for Iron Man after Iron Man died. And no one really believed him. But anyway, in the 2-in-1 comic that I'm reading, he basically was like, at some point he was like, I am going to help you guys try to find Reed and Sue. And then all of a sudden they're in this like big battle with another alternate universe, Doctor Doom version of Galactus, where Doctor Doom becomes Galactus, and Doctor Doom was fighting himself as Galactus. And I forget exactly what happened. I gotta look. basically he was like, "This is me. Like, why am I helping you guys? Screw you guys." And then he goes, I think I sent it to you. He goes, "Democracy is overrated."
He's really in the comics, bro. He's really a funny character. He's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Because he's like he has these like come to Jesus moments, like at the most random times possible.
Yeah.
And then he just turns the table over, like completely. Like he's the king of and this is what makes geniuses great in general in the world is
I
being
chuckle
able to abandon ideas. Yeah,
Sorry,
like
I didn't cut you off.
You're good. But that's what made people great is being able to like abandon ideas, and Dr. Doom is the king of that. But it's funny because Reed isn't like that. Reed is going to stay at it and pick at it until he gets it. Versus where Dr. Doom's like, yeah, if this ain't working, I'm gonna just find something else.
Yeah,
it's funny. Okay, so that's great. Now I want to talk about One World Under Doom because that dropped last week and a lot of fans liked it. So how did you like One World Under Doom?
Loved it. Can't wait for the next issue. Actually, Dr. Doom's Academy comes out this week, which is there is a Doctor Strange Academy, but now that Dr. Doom is the Sorcerer Supreme, he's doing Dr. Doom Academy. So I'm gonna read that one. Yeah.
Fire. Yeah, dude. What really caught me was the whole Zemo thing.
Yeah, the Zemo's dope. By the way, his mask is so sick.
Like one of the best masks ever. But what was funny and this is where I think comics are hilarious because in live action, this will be super funny because Doom broadcast to the world, yo, I'm the new guy, come to me, these are my new rules. And then Zemo and Hydra's like, yo, who is this guy? We're going to run the fade, right? And then like 2 minutes later, they're like, yeah, we're on Team Doom, we're going to build these schools, these hospitals. And then obviously like they end up, fighting Hydra, whatever, and they find out that, that he's a Doom bot. By the way, I think that is the funniest thing because I thought that he was going to use magic, and Wanda did say, like, I don't sense any magic or whatever, you know what I'm saying, going on, but it is the simplest way to make it work. And sometimes when reading Doom, bro, I always think that Doom goes with the complicated stuff that doesn't make sense, but I'm judging them wrong. Doom would do the most obvious thing because no one is expecting the obvious thing.
Yeah. Sometimes he tries to do what people wouldn't expect, which is why he, tricked them. I'm already blanking on what happened. Sometimes I read so many comics.
Okay, so basically what ended up happening was they basically like Dr. Doom faked this thing that Latveria, or he used the Zemo Doom bot to make it seem like they were infiltrating Hydra. Dr. Doom faked the treaty with Baron Zemo in front of the Hydra people. And was like, we are going to work together to help the world. And Cap's like, yo, something's wrong. Now, at first, when Zemo was about to infiltrate Hydra, Tony said to Cap, he was like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Cap's like, no, we're going to fight them both.
Right? Yeah, that I remember.
It's hilarious. And so I was just like, oh, Tony Stark, of course. Like, you're always going to try to find a way, dude. And so, and Natasha was already like tracking them already, but they weren't able to get through Doom's barrier to get in. And everyone was confused. How did Hydra get in, but Doom didn't? It's obvious because Doom allowed them to get in to push his narrative. And so what ends up happening is Baron Zemo, they found out that Baron Zemo, got killed. And so Tony Stark basically blasts the whole world saying, yo, Doom killed Zemo and he's still bad and this and that. Doom comes in on his freaking like dinosaur dragon or whatever. And then he's just like, yo, well, here, and then Doom gives a Dr. Doom explanation, but it questions almost every superhero in every universe. He says, yo, the Avengers have been fighting these people for years and they keep letting them go every time. I killed him because they're bad for the world and I just annihilated all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, there comes a point where it does make sense to an extent. And then kind of like, the context is given like the world's going to maybe like silence him to an extent. And then that's kind of where it ends at though.
Yeah. Man, it's so good. Ryan North, a couple of years ago, they released a limited series 5-issue Secret Invasion, and it was incredible. And I was like, this guy is going to be a big name. And then his Fantastic Four came out, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. And then they announced One World Under Doom, and I was like, this is going to be the one that makes him like widely known. I'm rereading the Mark Waid Fantastic Four. I started it today, because I read it in like I would read a couple issues, put it down, and it kept getting better and better. But I kept doing that, and then I got up to the first issue of the Doctor Doom story in it today, and I completely forgot what happened, but I remember loving the Doctor Doom arc, the Thing arc, the Galactus arc, so many good ones. Man, Marvel is just so creative, and like after a while, once you read so many comics, like what happens is, kind of what I said to you today about like the JMS, you'll be reading something and it'll cross over into another run that you've already read. So you already knew some of the timeline and history in another area of Marvel, and that, they end up all intersecting, and it's really cool. DC has that too. I just think Marvel does a better job of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like definitely with the Spider-Man life story, because they had a Secret Wars like comic, where it's like, okay, it makes sense. Because in the Secret Wars comic, Peter did leave, and I'm like, where the frick did Peter go? And then I'm reading Spider-Man last year, I'm like, oh, so MJ.
That was the first Secret Wars though, from the 80s.
yes, but I read some of those too, and plus I heard that on and plus, so what I was doing is like whenever I would read the Avengers, I would watch comics explain, because he would give me like a deeper explanation if I didn't like understand some stuff. And basically he was talking about how Peter like vanished. I'm like, where the frick he's at? And literally the like 2 weeks after you told me to read Spider-Man life story, when I read it, I'm like, oh. And but it's funny because Comic Explain was saying in the story, he said something like, when you find out where he is, it'll all make sense. And I didn't understand what he was saying, but then when I read Spider-Man life story, I'm like, boom, okay, that's why. And it gives you a deeper view of the whole symbiote in general. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, I got it. I understood it though.
I knew once you read Spider-Man life story, you would be amped up and finally read the JMS run.
God, dude. Yeah, I am. We are going to do a whole thing on that after I'm done, because I have a lot to say, but I want to save it because, oh my God,
I got to reread that one too.
It's just crazy because you read like Avengers and obviously that's like my GOAT right now, and it's like, I don't want to say it's better than Avengers because it's different, but it's like it can't, like my mindset, bro, is like there's no way I'm going to be as excited to read as I was for Hickman's Avengers. And I'm just, bro, every night, dude. I'll be saying, yo, I'm gonna read for an hour, dude. It'd be 3 hours, bro, and I'm still reading.
It's funny you say that, because I'm always like, I need more time to read comics, and but that Spider-Man run, it's very different from Hickman. And the thing is, I hate to brag it to you, but most comics are different from that Hickman run. That's why I always say nobody writes comics like Hickman, because those big ideas, the intricate plot lines. But that Spider-Man run, the J. Michael Straczynski Amazing Spider-Man run, for those listening, that is like the definitive Spider-Man run of the modern age. It is just incredible. I need to start reading more older Spider-Man. Like, I really want to read, I've read, what's it called? The Night Gwen Stacy Died. I've read Peter Parker No More, but I want to read more of the Stan Lee Ditko stuff. It's pretty cool. And like, I was looking at, I got a like on an old post from Threads today, and it was of when the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man dropped. I posted a picture side by side of the Stan Lee Steve Ditko design of Peter Parker and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man design of Peter Parker. And I wrote, I love that they paid homage to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko with this design. And the more I watch this show, the more I want to read retro Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And this Amazing Spider-Man arc is so freaking amazing. So right now I'm on issue number 30. I'm looking right now. I'm on issue number 37. That's what.
Okay, so you read the 9/11 issue?
Yes.
Incredible.
Dude, I almost cried.
I think I did. I think I did.
Yeah, I almost shed a tear. Almost
Yeah.
shed a tear. Almost shed a tear. Yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, and that's what's also interesting is like, because his Spider-Man run starts at issue number 30, and so I was questioning like what happened, who wrote before that, but I didn't even dig that deep. But
yeah, maybe I'll take a look. I'm definitely rereading the J. Michael Straczynski run because that was one of the earlier runs I read when I first started, so I don't remember all of it.
Because his run goes from issue number 30 to like I think it's like 58 or something, and then he starts another Spider-Man run like farther down the road a couple years.
I think they changed the numbers, but make sure you finish all of it because at first when I did it, I stopped and then I realized there was more to it. But what I'll tell you is, so the ending of his run, which was called One More Day, which was what came before Brand New Day. First of all, I've probably told you what happened already, but if you don't remember it, like, avoid it online because there's people talk about it all the time. So be careful. There's a lot of spoilers. Okay. But I will tell you that a lot of people complain about One More Day, but One More Day it's an awesome story. And most of the complaints are complaints about the ramifications of the story and not really about the story. So if you see any of that, just remember it's an awesome story. People just have problems with the ramifications.
Did you read J. Michael's Superman or no?
No, I haven't. I didn't know he wrote Superman.
Yeah, I was because I found a good Spider-Man reading order like online or whatever because I found
a great website first guide. I'm going to send it to you, but send me the reading order because I'm curious where you found it. I want to check the website out.
It's called redwing.com or something like that. Hold on, I'm gonna send you a link. So to send it to you because I just pulled it up. But I didn't hear there was a YouTube video that came with it about a Superman. I'll send you the link so you can watch the review. But yeah, I heard the Superman is not that bad.
You know, he also wrote he wrote something Fantastic Four that I do want to read, but not a lot. He also wrote Captain America recently, Steve Rogers, but it didn't sell well and they dropped it. But Comics Explained said it's one of the best comics out right now. So it sucks it didn't sell well.
The Captain America?
Yeah, he said it's one of the best comics out right now and no one's talking about it.
Here you go, Jerry. I'm one of those people who had a problem with One More Day.
Well, don't spoil it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great story. I think that it just had crazy ramifications. You know, and I also didn't think Brand New Day was bad.
All right. Sorry, I put that there. Okay. Now I want speaking of Spider-Man reading orders, I kind of want to do this like every week where we give like a reading order for like our fans, whatever that watch our show. So the same way you set me up for Spider-Man, what is your go-to order for? So like if someone comes up to you and says, "Yo, Jerry, I want to read Spider-Man," what is the best road to go on? What would be like some of that order?
I would start with Spider-Man Life Story. Then I would do J. Michael Straczynski's Amazing Spider-Man. And then I would do right into all of Dan Slott's multiple runs. And I would say you also should read Spectacular Spider-Man by Chip Zdarsky, which is amazing. It's one of the best Spider-Man runs ever. And then I would read Nick Spencer, Amazing Spider-Man, and Zeb Wells. You could really do the Spectacular Spider-Man at any point because it's not Amazing Spider-Man, so you don't have to follow it in order. But everything I just gave you is in order, except for Life Story, which is a comic that goes back to the original Spider-Man history up till now and even a little into the future. And it takes you through that history in a really entertaining and fun story, and it'll fill you in on all the history and lore that you should know about Spider-Man, so you'll be experienced before diving into the amazing Spider-Man canon. And I think starting with life story is really important because it's so amazing and it will get you so excited about reading more Spider-Man.
Perfect. Thank you, bro. By the way, Hungry Almighty, I wanted to ask you something. So with your Avengers roster, right? The question I have for you, Hungry, is did you ever take into consideration the fact that we have a Earth that is already about to collide with the MCU, which is the Earth that Monica Rambeau is on? And do you count the X-Men as a part of the Avengers roster for right now? Because I do think that something's going to be going on that Earth during Doomsday, where we're going to have to deal with that. And a lot of people are hinting to the fact that the plate that where Deadpool and Wolverine are, that's the same planet that Monica Rambeau's on. Have you thought about that or no?
Are you asking me or Hungry or Mighty?
I was asking Hungry because he was throwing the rosters earlier, and I literally meant to ask him. I literally meant to ask him about that like earlier. He said, "Oh, I only consider the main Earth. I know there will be other heroes from other universes." Yeah, like there has to be some way that other heroes are going to be able to meet with our like Avengers. It's going to be more than one Earth team, I guess. That's going to be involved. And the other part that I don't get is like what like and this is the thing with having movies like Thunderbolts, like they're going to have a part in this too, right? I mean, but you would just say that they're doing stuff on Earth and then we just don't see them for like the rest of the film, I guess. I mean, you could do that, but we'll see.
Yeah. I hope it's going to be interesting how they're going to have to explain the mutants don't exist also,
Yeah,
or didn't exist or weren't part of the conversation. You know what I found out? I didn't know this. The reason that they created mutants in Marvel to begin with was so they didn't have to create an elaborate backstory on how the heroes got their powers.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And crazy how well it worked.
Yeah, boy. Mutants are probably the most loved superhero group. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
People love that, bro.
I do too. I don't know why I said they're not at the top of my list the other day. It took me a while to get into X-Men comics, but X-Men comics are complicated. There's just so many of them, and like it's insane. I mean, all the time they always have like 7-8 books running at a time. It's X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, Excalibur.
Conservative X-Men. I'm kidding.
New Mutants. I mean, and there's so many others. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep up. I was reading so many comics recently. I feel like I kind of have to put a couple down. I just can't keep up with that.
Facts, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Bet. Why are y'all? We're gonna hop off tonight. We hope you guys had a great time, man. We got clips going out every day. We're on TikTok, Instagram, at Comic Cuts, at Superherocuts. We're really active on X. Like if you want to talk to us like throughout the week, we're always on X. Always tweeting at people, stuff like that. Facts. So all right, y'all. Have a great day. Stay crispy and peace out, y'all.